Yes, okay,
Yes.
I like it, girl. Hello, 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 and welcome. This is Her Talk Show. My name is Sabrina Victoria. I am here with Angela Harvey. We're going to be talking all about how to get your ish together. We're super excited about this. So make sure you get comfortable as we explore the triumphs and the challenges that are faced by women and men worldwide. We are so excited about this. We're going to be giving you some inspiration to fuel not only your personal, but also your business growth. So let's jump in.
Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is Her Talk Show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
Oh, if you're listening live, welcome. And if you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can send you some love in the comments. We are here every day delving deep into the realms of health, wealth, and leadership with some of the most brilliant women globally. We've actually interviewed over 600 women on this podcast. And today, I know, right? And today we are adding another one to the list. We have Miss Angela Harvey. She is a compelling author and poet whose work captures the depths of human emotion and resilience. She's based in Wake Forest, North Carolina. She has dedicated over 25 years to facilitating workshops and hosting personal growth retreats, all of which inform her powerful voice. Angela's debut poetry self-help book, Poetic Alchemy, 7 Intentions for Healing, Growth, and Transformation. And dude, this book is unreal. So excited to dive into this. Learn how to emerge from her journey through heartbreak, transforming pain into art. As the director of a Black Rainbow Love and a columnist for SWERV magazine, Angela continues to weave her expertise and creativity, inspiring readers to embrace their potential and heal through the written word. Girl.
Yes. That made me sound like I know what I'm talking about here.
That's always nice, right? Sometimes I do that too. People introduce me and I'm like, damn, who's that?
Exactly.
It is funny, right? How we're just normal people.
Yes.
It's just, we're just normal people and we're just working on doing extraordinary things.
For sure. I remember the first time someone called me a director. I burst out in tears. I'm like, I'm not a director. I'm just a motivational speaker. I was just, like, no.
I love it.
Just ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And for me, one, just being obedient to the spirit and moving when it says move. That's it.
Yeah. And I think the really cool thing about the space that we're in is, people that are coming to us and just kind of, doing this whole thing of like, ooh, ah. We can really, because we're still so close to our story of like where we were, like it's not like 100 years away,
right?
Where it's still very much like a humble feeling of like, girl, I'm still just Angela.
Right.
Yeah, I'm so just Angela. Right. And it's just such a really cool place to be, as far as
it is. And it's cool being Angela. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I don't know that I ever thought I would say that, but it is cool being Angela Harvey these days. That's for sure.
I love that. So we got a new book out. I know, dude. And this cover is just insane.
Yes.
So
everything about it. I love everything about it. That's
so
sure.
Rich. So before we dive into the book and all the goodness about that, because I do want to hear about it, I would love to know what this ish is. I love this. The title of this podcast is Get Your Ish Together.
Right.
And it's funny because I didn't realize there was period. So it's an acronym. Yes. I was like, get your shit together. I was like, girl,
yes. I'm the acronym queen. Ish is intentional self-healing. Angie, acronym, assigned to nurture growth in everyone. Impact, intentionally motivating people to act, change, and transform. Come on now. Light, leveraging intentional growth, healing, and transformation. What?
I love that.
Yes.
So get your ish together, intentional self-healing. First of all, when did you start your journey of self-healing? And then I want to know, why is it so important? There's so many people who are getting along who are not healed, and they're alive, they're well. Why do we got to heal? Right. So first, your story. Let's hear about you. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Whatever you want to share.
Intentionally self-healing. My intentional self-healing actually started 4 or 5 years ago when I found myself at the end of a breakup and found myself devastated, found myself codependent, found myself alone for the first time in my adult life, and discovering that I was not okay, mainly because I was not connected to another. And then my sister passed away in 2021. And then I made a discovery that most of the people that I called friends were actually people that saw me as a service provider and not as a friend. So I wasn't being invited places. I mean, people like, who invites their therapist or their officiant to their wedding, to their birthday party? Not many people. So the intentionality came when I had no other choice, because I was considering checking out of here. Like, I put my paperwork together, put it on the back of the door. And I was ready to be gone, for sure and for certain, and made a decision. It wasn't even my decision, that there was still work for me to do, and that there was somebody. I do believe that we're all assigned people on this planet, and all of my people had not heard from me. And so I made it a point to just kind of do whatever I need to do. When I tell you whatever I needed to do, sometimes it looked like me curled up on the floor. It looked like me calling, hotlines. It looked like me joining grief groups. It looks like a whole bunch of things. And I just began to really and truly go, okay, Angie, what would you, my therapist says this to me all the time. I say to her, well, why do I pay you? Like, what would you tell your clients? I'm like, So, in the end, I realized that I was dispensing all this amazing information that have helped people resurrect their spirits and resuscitate their relationships. And a lot of it, maybe I wasn't listening to myself. And the healing comes in because it struck me as odd that people would not want to grow. But I'm so clear now that growing is so difficult when you're not healed. Like you having a broke leg and making a decision that I want to go ride a roller coaster. Well, if your leg is broke, you're not going to make it to that roller coaster, or that roller coaster looks very unattractive to you because of the pain that you have to endure just to get there. And many people are in that space where literally there's painfulness. When I tell clients to go in that drawer or in that closet and get that box that they put all their ish in, right? They're like, oh no, Miss Harvey, you got me twisted. I'm not doing that. I know now why that's so difficult, because when you bring all that stuff out and you set it in the middle of the floor, you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And I had to do the same thing. So I'm pulling out these things and I'm thinking, okay, I thought I had a bunch of friends. I did not. I thought I had my ish together. I did not. I did not know I was codependent. I was. So the recovery had to start, and it had to be intentional, meaning I had to do it on purpose every day, all day, managing my emotions. I thought I was a good emotional manager. I was good at managing great emotions. Not so good at managing emotions of rejection and abandonment and all those things. It took me that to know that I wasn't being abandoned or rejected. I was actually being positioned and purposed for a reason. And thus it became intentional for me to get my ish together and have a better understanding why sometimes I tell people I can't even give it away, let alone sell it. Can't even give it away because it's painful. And me having that concept now helps me to better understand why people could not want that for themselves, because there's pain behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like what you're saying as far as you can't grow if you're not healed.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like what an interesting concept. Like they say like time heals.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what you're saying makes sense.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Time doesn't heal if you're not working on it. Like if you never put a Band-Aid on it and you never, get the peroxide and the alcohol for these wounds, they don't just go, they're there. And the scabs, if you've ever had something that was unhealed, the scab, it hurts when you touch it. That's how you can know when something is healing and something is not. So literally, if I say to you, good morning, and that's what your abuser used to say to you every morning, and that triggers you and you spiral out of control, that's an unhealed wound.
Absolutely.
So it comes from so many different places. So yeah, I believe that it can be very, very challenging to grow when you're unhealed.
Yeah. This reminds me of is probably about 8 months ago now, I was on a networking call with a woman, just a regular, like, one-on-one, just getting to know each other, see if she'd be a possible guest on my podcast. And I told her my story. My story is I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. I got pregnant at the age of 20. I was kicked out of my religion because I wasn't married. Anyways, I tell her my little short, like, 2-minute story, right? Like, introducing myself, basically. And usually when I'm done with my story, the person's like, "Oh my gosh, like, your story is incredible. Like, oh, it's what, thank you so much for sharing it. Like, what triumph." And this woman goes, "I am a Jehovah's Witness."
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my reaction was immediate, bawling my eyes out, couldn't breathe. And I was so mad at myself because I thought I had healed.
Yes.
Like, I had done all the work to heal.
Yes.
And I was so intent that when I finally come face to face with a Jehovah's Witness, I am going to stand tall and powerfully, because I am no longer a Jehovah's Witness. And I was going to stand tall, and I was going to stand powerful, and I was going to say, "Good for you. And my life is phenomenal."
Right.
Outside of that religion.
Yes.
And because I broke down in such a mess, I was embarrassed. I was mad at myself, so frustrated with like this unnecessary just junk that was coming up for me. Anyways, I ended the networking call, and immediately I knew I was not fully healed.
Yeah. That you
And
had some stuff that you needed to do.
Yeah. And I immediately started working with a coach to heal religious trauma.
Yes.
And that's what you're talking about.
Absolutely. And what's really amazing about what you said is that I'm just now coming out of what I call protective custody, where I kind of put myself in this cocoon so nobody could touch me. I'm just working, doing what I need to do for the community, but protecting myself. And coming out of that now, I have to come out of that, because you have to be able to lift things to know that you're stronger.
Yeah.
And so I heard you say, "Well, I thought I had healed." Well, there was probably nothing to test you from that, except, you had this little, like, "Okay, you got it. Go speed racer, go." And then something came, you're like, "Oh no." Yeah. So I absolutely, like, literally understand that. And I want to let everybody know, you have to be able to test yourself. You have to be able to lift that weight to know that you've grown stronger. And I was like, "Angie, it's time for you to come out of hiding, come out of, and you really have to see if you've grown in the places where you think you've grown to."
Absolutely.
Perfect story.
I love how you're talking about testing, because I hear that a lot with going from, like, a relationship to being single.
Yes.
And you'll hear a lot of, like, "I'm fine. I'm healed now. Now I'm not in the relationship. I'm all good." And I'm like, dude, of course you're all good. You're by yourself.
That part right there. Yes. I think, and that's so very important, because the other piece to all of that is that, again, unless something happens, you don't know that you're not. So those people probably believe in their whole mind, "Oh yeah, I got this together." But again, unless you're lifting a weight, you're not stronger. You're not stronger. You could have been lifting all day long and then go over there. I just said that today, that I will know. So I'm beginning to find out some of the tests. I had to go spend some time with people that I know just talk crap out of their mouth. And so to me, it was hard for me to listen to people talk stuff and know they were lying. So, "Oh, okay, then, thanks a lot," and like, that type of thing. But that's how I knew. And every time I called a friend, like, "Oh, guess what? Child, I grew through that. Like, I didn't fall apart. I didn't blink. In fact, I gave them so much of this, like, hey, good for you," type of thing. So, and it's amazing. I'm so very happy to be in a place where I can still stand. I don't have to cry all the time. I don't have to be, put in those, and I don't have to stop going places and growing places because people that are going to trigger me are there. Because now I can see them and hear them and feel them and not be moved in my spirit, or be able to manage my emotions so well that you never see me moved. That's peace right there. Because if we're still going to have those times, you to be able to check yourself before you wreck yourself, that's healing right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember Tony Robbins, I was at one of his seminars. He was talking about something to the effect of like, yes, boundaries,
Mm,
but the ideal, like, when you know you're good, like, you've done so much work that no matter who you're around, the idea isn't to, like, put boundaries around all the people where you're in
right,
in, like, a box. The
right,
idea is to, yes, you gotta have boundaries, but to heal while you're setting up those boundaries.
right,
But the ideal situation is to be able to be around anybody
right,
at any time and be neutral.
right, right,
Yeah, be neutral. And to me, that because when I heard that was back when I had just left my abusive ex. So it was all about boundaries. Like there's just boundaries just going
right,
up everyone's fence. Like, don't
right,
talk to me, don't touch me, don't look at me,
right,
don't ask me a question,
right.
don't ask me why.
And
But yeah,
all of those boundaries equal a border. So
yeah.
literally, you know, you kind of put yourself in. They don't tell you that
Exactly,
part. Yeah.
exactly. So, like, yeah, you wanna put up boundaries and you wanna be able to but you wanna be out healing while you have those boundaries up, but the ideal situation is for you to be able to go out into the world and be around
Yes.
anybody at any time and
Yes.
just be neutral, and
Yes.
that's what we all need to work towards. I
Absolutely.
wanna ask you, you said something very interesting that I've actually never heard on a podcast before.
What?
You said
Wait a minute. You never heard. I can't believe. Tell me what it is.
yes, and I want you to explain this. You said, "I was assigned people, and all of my people had not heard from me yet."
Yes. I
This is
do.
so powerful. What does this mean?
I do believe that our gifts and talents, our gifts are ours to open, but they're not ours to keep, and that we've all been put here to affect people. And we are all assigned what you were assigned to do, nobody else can do. So there are people waiting on me, waiting on you to show up, to be in their space, for them to have access to us in order for them to get what we've been sent here to deliver. And when somebody said, I'm so happy that you're here, and I tell literally it was my work and my assignment that kept me here. It wasn't even me and my desire to continue to live. It was me going, okay, then Angie, just imagine if what you needed somebody was holding on the other side of town. They're like, nah, I don't think I want to give it to her. And you like sitting here waiting, like you're waiting for your father to come pick you
Wow.
up. You know, you're waiting. I didn't want to keep those people waiting. I know what that feels like. I did not.
That's a good analogy, waiting for your dad to pick you up.
Yeah, I didn't. That was my saving grace. Like, okay, I won't leave anybody waiting for me to show up with the gift that I have for them. I won't do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I speak into that a lot. I call that obligation.
Yeah.
Like I
Mhm.
have an obligation, kind of like what you're saying with a father, like an obligation to pick up where they're counting on you. Wow, that's so powerful. I've never heard of that before. How did that come to you at that point? Did somebody say something? Did you read something like
Um I don't even remember when I start calling it assignment, because then I knew that it was something being assigned to me, and me truly believing in my spirit that we're all here for a reason.
mm,
At that time, I think I was trying just to prompt people to not sit on their gifts and talents. You know, whether you can sing or dance or you do therapy or coaching or whatever it is, there's a certain set of people, and what we've been assigned to do, nobody else can come like, okay, then since Sabrina's not here, we're gonna let Angie take. Well, Angie don't have what Sabrina was bringing. Angie only has what Angie was given. And it just came to me that, okay, then this is what's supposed to happen. But this is what happens when you sit still with yourself and develop a relationship with yourself and begin to love on yourself. Like your hearing just gets so much better. Even though I've lost most of my hearing in this ear, I can hear so much better. And I've been blessed with a lot of the whys, like why I was left here alone, why I could do a whole movie and get awards and be in film festival and not ever have done a movie before, not ever even on my radar. And those are some of the gifts and talents that you're given. So when the universe, God, Allah, whoever you hold higher, assigns you with something, you have what you need to do it. And there are people, the whole purpose of you getting the freaking assignment is for you to be able to dispense it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Super, super powerful. I feel like that's something that so many of us can relate to because we're sitting on the cusp.
Yes.
You know, we see it, we can feel it,
Right.
but we're just kind of like scared, fearful, you know, like we're supposed to write a book, but like, is anyone going to read the book? This really, this really feeds into that. You know, there are people that have been assigned to you that are waiting to hear from you.
Okay. And wait a
Wow.
minute. So just as you said that, I know. When you're codependent and you're an extreme people pleaser,
Yeah.
when you know that somebody's waiting on you, you want to show up. Because that's who we are as codependents. We are genies in the bottle. It was that kept me here. Like, okay, then wait a minute. I can't do it for me, because that's what codependents say. I wouldn't do this for me, but I would do this for everybody else.
Wow.
God knew his child and knew that I would stay.
Wow.
Not necessarily for my grandkids, for my daughter, for my family, for my friend. I would stay because of those unknown people I don't know, who are waiting for word from Angie Harvey Speaks, or Let's Talk University, or Black Rainbow Love, or Poetic Alchemy, or whatever. And I need to be sure that they get it. Ooh, he's so tricky. Oh, he's so tricky. I just like, why? That's why.
I love that.
He knew what would work.
I love that. So intentional self-healing, is this connected to the 7 intentions?
Oh, absolutely. And even that was given to me what they call a piecemeal. I'm like, I'm not going to publish poetry. Like, I don't even like reading poetry. Why would I do that? Why would I do a self-help book? I'm not the guru of anything. I mean, so literally all these things came. I have read the 5 love languages and the 4 agreements and the 15 laws of growth and all those things. So I knew that my book would have a number in it. I knew that I didn't want to publish just a poetry book, because it's not something I would necessarily pick up. I knew that it had to be a personal, self-help book, because that's my ish. That's my thing. And then those 7 intentions just came to me because they're the 7 things that I believe that humans struggle with the most. Emotional identification, because fine, okay, and good are not emotions, and you can't manage what you can't identify. Self-awareness. Most people don't know some of the things that need to happen with them because they're not aware of self, meaning there's not a relationship with self. Defining moments. Things happen to us for good reason, but many of us don't know how to take what happened to us to be able to use it for what's going to happen. Starting conversations. If I could tell you the people that I've talked to, trying to get to know, and how people literally lack the skills to be able to start, carry, or initiate a conversation. And then there's word exploration. People use words all the time that they don't have meanings for themselves, or don't know what you're saying and won't bring it up. And then creative expression, which I think is just so necessary for us to be able to express ourselves. Those 7 intentions are what I have at the end of every poem. And with every intention, there are 2 questions or prompts. And it's amazing. Many of those questions I had to answer myself. So it wasn't about me having to create questions. There were questions I had to grow through myself after writing these poems. And it's incredible, because now I've developed a intention self-assessment quiz. And in my head, just like people ask you your love language, people can ask you your intention status, and you be able to say, I am budding, or I am germinating, or I'm whatever that looks like. And again, I didn't get all this in the beginning. It's been given to me in these little spurts, because I was trying to actually back away from the limelight. I was like, I fade to black. I was trying to fade to black, and God keeps going, no, I'm not done. No, I'm not done.
Wow.
And I even have a whole curriculum already around the book. It's going to be amazing. People that said, well, I want to support you. I said, I'm not looking for support. I'm not looking for a sale. I'm looking for a save. I'm looking to save spirits. Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
I like this. Fine, okay, and good are not feelings. Is that what you said?
Fine, okay, and good are not emotions. So when people say,
emotions.
I'm doing good, I'm doing fine. And I said, tell me what fine means. I tell people okay is the new depressed. So you saying you're okay really doesn't, share a lot with me. And I keep, like, literally, I'm at my desk. I keep emotional wheels wherever I go, because people, you really and truly can't manage what you can't identify. And people can't support what they don't know. So fine, okay, and good means nothing. But if you tell me you're feeling productive and energetic and maybe contemplative, that's a whole conversation we could have around that.
Wow.
Otherwise, guess what? It doesn't come up that way. So I want people to be able to identify their emotions. And in the book, I don't just ask you about your emotions. Sometimes we learn better if I ask you, what do you think the author was feeling? What do you think somebody else would feel in that situation? So it's not just about what you think and feel. Sometimes we're able to grow from other people's responses. And the things that come out of our mouth and the things that are in our head sometimes don't involve us. So I kind of come at you at several different ways just so I can get what I need.
Wow.
You can be intentionally healed, grow, and transformed.
I really like the idea of explaining what somebody else might, or what the author might have been thinking. That's actually smart, because you'll get some nuggets of what they're thinking
Absolutely.
in
Absolutely.
there. Yeah.
Sure.
As far as the book goes and the poetry goes, is it based on stories? Do you use stories to
It's the whole thing. Is a drama, a rom-com, a horror, science fiction. It actually is the poetry that I wrote as I exited a relationship in 2019. And I wasn't a poet. It wasn't like that's what I used to do in my journals. But all of this pain just kind of came out in poetry form. I read a book by Dr. Alexis Gums, who did a autobiography of Audre Lorde. And Audre Lorde said that the function of poetry is to excavate the politics of submerged emotions. What?
wow.
What? I'm like, that's where it came out in poetry, because I was clueless. Like, I know some amazing poets. I was not a poet, but my hurt and some of my healing and definitely the transformation came out in poetry form. Not ever typed. It always had to be written. There was something about me having to write it. So I got it written on barf bags and napkins and the back of envelopes, whatever I can get a hold to. And it was used for me, like, not to fall apart. Like, okay, tell me what you're feeling. And then this poem would spill out. Wow. So it's actually a memoir and autobiography, but it absolutely is stories. There's a story in everyone. And I think that if misery loves company, I want people to know that you're in great company. But I also do believe that misery, in order for it to heal, for our I.S.H to happen, that you need to know that there's some company involved. I don't think that we were ever meant to grow alone. I'm not sure I got that from it. I have to sit someplace in a dark room with nobody. I think that we can grow together. And that's what the book is for me. That's me saying, come on, take my hand, and we're going to grow through this together.
Yes. One of the things that's so important to me is community. It's one of the things that was taken away from me at one of the most, volatile times of my life. And I completely agree with that. And I think what goes along with that is the patience. Right. So like, as that individual is healing and growing, as long as they're doing the work, right, there's some patience that's needed on our end, right, while they're doing that.
That's very true. Let me give you a story here. If I could tell you how many times I talked about something, whether it be an ex-relationship or whether it be the pain I was feeling. I've even reached out to people saying, I don't want to be here. And if I could tell you the impatience of people on the other line, like, you need to get over this already. I had somebody tell me, if you're not going to kill yourself, stop talking about it. So I'm very clear that not everybody can swim in this ocean that I live in. That's people kicking about a kiddie pool. You can't ask those people that's used to the kiddie pool to come get you in the middle of the ocean. They're afraid to drown. They cannot. Everybody can't grow where you are. Wow. And so that was a big aha for me. Like, wow. I was like, why am I being left alone? Girl, people can't swim. Like, at least come to the 6 feet. I feel safe there. And so now I understand that. So yes, the patience, to understand that because it's my story, me telling it does not mean that I'm stuck someplace. Me telling it is me processing yet again, me processing yet again, me processing yet again. Now, there's some people that do tell the story because they need to be in this spin cycle. But for the most part, people are really and truly trying to process and understand some of what they're growing through. And if you're fortunate enough to be on that end, be as brave as they are to be transparent, to show up.
Yeah.
That's all we ask.
Yeah, 100%. I know you talk a little bit about weightlessness. Yeah. What does this mean, weightlessness?
Weightless, WAITLESS. And that is what I came up with, to wait less on man and depend more on God. Because I was waiting for my friends and family to show up. I was waiting for people to hear depression and suicidal ideations in my voice. I was waiting on people to celebrate me. I was waiting on people to acknowledge me. I was waiting on people to affirm me. And God was really clear. Boo, I'm all you got. It's me and you, inward and upward. That's all you got right now. That's what I'm going to do for you. But guess what? I gave you the assignment, so the accolades and the attention and the acknowledgement that you need, you come get it from me. And here's the way it was put to me: you come get your gas from me. You can use that gas to go wherever you want to go, but don't you dare try to fill up at somebody else's service station. Back to me. Once I understood the assignment, like, okay, then I get it. I get it. I was waiting. I've been waiting on man, whether it be a partner or a friend or a family member. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. And guess what? There was somebody right there all the time saying, you ain't got to wait, but if you want to send that long line, go ahead. And there's no line here. So I wait less. It's actually on my license plate. Wait less. I wait less on man, depend more on God.
That's awesome. Yeah, another thing that I hadn't heard before. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. I took a ton of notes. I'd love for you to let us know where we can find this book. Can we find it yet?
Yes, you can. It is absolutely. You can go to my website, Angie Harvey Speaks, because on Angie Harvey Speaks, shift happens, right? You can go to Angie Harvey Speaks. There is my all of my services. I have everything now in one place. And on the merch, the book merch place is where you can find the book. There's some people, Sabrina, that didn't want the intentions. And I didn't want to do a poetry book because I didn't consider myself a poet. Well, I've grown a little bit, and I have taken all the poems from Poetic Alchemy and actually then compiled them into a book of just poetry. And it's called A Transformed Heart, My Journey from Hurt to Healing. And that too is available on my website or on Amazon. Both of them are available on Amazon, paperback and ebook.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah.
Super, super proud of you and all the progress that you've made over the last few years. And the thing that I'm really pulling out of this that I really appreciate, that I think so many individuals listening can kind of lean into, is, you spoke briefly about 2019, a heartbreak that you went through. And so often, we go in and out of any sort of relationship, right? It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, it can be any sort of relationship. And it just is what it is, right? You kind of like get over it, time heals, and then you just kind of move on. And the thing that I'm really appreciating about all this is you took some of that pain, some of that heartache, and you pulled it into something that's just absolutely gorgeous that so many other individuals can now learn from and take from. And I think that is the main takeaway from this podcast is, listen, you've gone through some stuff, right? We're going through some stuff. And instead of just sitting in the woe is me and the victimhood and just waiting to get over it, learning to switch that into some sort of learning. It doesn't mean you need to write a book, right? But can you retell your story in a way of learning?
Right. That's how I came up with the shared story, Save Souls. And on the back of this book, it says, my pain repurposed.
There you go.
My pain repurposed, because I know that there are people that would pick up that book and there will be an aha moment where people will know that they are not alone and they are not the only one. And I think we all have that calling on our lives to share our stories, because I do believe they save souls.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been great. I so appreciate you being here, hanging out with us. For those that are listening, by the way, we have a ton of people listening live. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us. For those that are listening, well, first of all, for those that are listening live or on the replay, we're getting a really good idea of who you are, what you do. However, what exactly do you do, and who should be reaching out to you? Who do you help?
I love that. I love that you always bring me back to the intention, because you are a businesswoman.
Yeah.
Okay, boo. That's good. But what? Yeah. What I do, I provide presentations, workshops, facilitation, keynotes, things of that nature, anything to help grown folks grow up. I specialize in customized programming. Right now I'm doing programming around my book, and I've done programming around my movie. And so specifically, I use my mouth to be able to help grown folks grow up. I call myself a growthologist. And there's not probably a place that I can be set. There's not a corporation. I do stuff for Fortune 500 companies. I do anything. I say anything, but call me. Absolutely. If you're looking for some place to grow, I'm somebody you should know. That's for sure, for certain.
I
And all
love
of that
it.
is on my website.
I love that. Awesome. And then where can people find you? We have Angie Harvey,
Angie Harvey
speaks.com.
Speaks, and I'm on all social media. That's on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, and I even have some of my codependency journey on TikTok. So yeah, I did a pageant in 2022. I am Miss Full Figure North Carolina 22 beauty pageant. But my platform was codependency, and I say that codependency kills more spirits and relationships than guns kill people. And
Oh,
that's real talk. That's actually on the TikTok. But yeah, and I'm Googleable. You could just Google Angie Harvey, and you will see my face. Sometimes with hair, and sometimes without. But I'm there.
oh, I love it. Well,
Yeah.
this has been phenomenal. For those of you listening live or on the replay, make sure you check out Angela Harvey. She predominantly hangs out on Instagram and Facebook and just recently TikTok. You can find her at angieharveyspeaks.com. It is in a clickable link in the description wherever you are listening to us at. Thank you so much for being here, hanging out with us. And be sure to share this podcast, like this podcast, follow this podcast so that we can continue to grow. Angela Harvey, any closing thoughts as we wrap up?
Closing thoughts. I'm just going to tell people to get and keep their ish together and be intentional. Be intentional, because when you have intention, yeah, shift happens. Be intentional about it. And one of the things that I did, and I would definitely charge you to do, is that in 2021, I made a commitment to myself that I would never let me down. I'm way less on humans, but I will never let me down again. And I can commit to that. Do it.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good one. What a great takeaway too, as far as that goes back to like not leaning on people, right?
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. Great, great takeaway. Well, thank you, Angela, for being here. We so appreciate all the wisdom, all of the advice, all the feedback, all the goodness that you shared. I took a whole page of notes. So for those of
I
you
was
listening,
nervous. You tell me you take notes. I'm like, I hope she finds something I say interesting. She could.
yes, 100%. For those of you listening live or on the replay, always know that you can go back, re-listen to any of this podcast that you missed. And once again, my name is Sabrina Victoria. I invite you to join our amazing community, Her Nation, where we continue to uplift each other every step of the way by having conversations just like this one. Until